11. Spam. The rectangular can of Spam, processed pork shoulder in its distinctive packaging, was pantry insurance. While critics dismissed it as inferior meat, Black families understood its practical value. Spam lasted forever, required no refrigeration until opened, and could be prepared multiple ways when fresh meat was not an option. Fried Spam slices accompanied eggs at breakfast, the salty richness cutting through morning hunger. Spam cubed and fried with rice and vegetables became a complete meal. Spam sandwiches traveled in lunchboxes, and Spam cooked with beans added protein to stretching budgets. The key was seasoning and preparation, making Spam interesting rather than monotonous. Spam taught pragmatism without shame. It taught that processed foods, while not ideal, served purposes during hard times and deserved respect rather than ridicule. The family that kept Spam in the pantry was prepared for emergencies, for weeks when paychecks disappeared too quickly, for times when something was better than nothing. That blue and yellow can represented survival strategy, a backup plan that meant children always had protein even when circumstances were challenging. 12. Powdered milk. Instant non-fat dry milk sat ready to be reconstituted when fresh milk ran out before grocery day. Mixing the powder with water never produced milk that tasted quite right, but it was milk nonetheless, suitable for cereal, cooking, and drinking if necessary. Mothers mixed powdered milk according to box directions, sometimes adding a splash of vanilla or sugar to improve the flavor. Children learned to accept it, understanding that complaining solved nothing. The powder was used in bacon, in mashed potatoes, and any recipe requiring milk when the refrigerator was empty. It served its purpose without fanfare. Powdered milk taught the difference between preference and necessity. It taught that standards sometimes had to flex when resources were limited. That family using powdered milk was making intelligent choices, spending food money on items that could not be substituted rather than always buying fresh milk. That box represented adaptability and priorities. It proved that meeting nutritional needs mattered more than meeting taste preferences, and that children could thrive even when every meal was not perfect.
13. Liver, beef, or chicken. Organ meat was affordable protein, rich in iron and nutrients, purchased by families who understood nutritional value beyond popular appeal. Liver was not a favorite. Its strong flavor and particular texture made it challenging, but it was cheap and nutritious, and that made it appear regularly on tables. Liver was soaked in milk to mellow its flavor, then dredged in seasoned flour and fried quickly to avoid toughness. Served with onions, gravy, and rice, it became palatable and satisfying. Children were required to eat it without complaint, parents explaining that it built strong blood and healthy bodies. The nutritional lecture accompanied every serving. Liver taught sacrifice and discipline. It taught that not every meal would be pleasurable, but every meal had purpose. Parents who served liver were making conscious choices about nutrition over popularity, investing in their children's health even when taste suffered. That package of liver represented parental commitment, the willingness to serve nutritious food despite its unpopularity. It showed children that love sometimes looked like insisting they eat what they needed rather than what they wanted.
Molasses. The dark bottle of molasses was sweetness and nutrition combined, iron-rich, intensely flavored, and affordable. While sugar was used sparingly, molasses appeared in baking and glazes for meats, and sometimes spooned over biscuits or into hot cereal when treats were needed, but money was non-existent.
Molasses sweetened cornbread, created the distinctive flavor of gingerbread, and turned plain oatmeal into something special. Its deep, complex sweetness was nothing like refined sugar. It was robust, earthy, and unmistakable. A little went a long way, making a single bottle last months. The nutritional benefits were bonus. Iron content mattered when fresh vegetables and meat were limited. Molasses taught that sweetness came in many forms, and the best sweetness often carried additional benefits. It connected families to agricultural history, to sugarcane fields, and the complicated legacy of sugar production in Black history. That bottle represented making the most of every ingredient, choosing foods that serve multiple purposes. Molasses was not just a sweetener, it was medicine, energy, and memory captured in viscous darkness. 15. Okra, fresh or frozen. Okra, slender green pods with distinctive texture, was affordable vegetable nutrition, purchased fresh in summer or frozen year-round. This vegetable divided people. Its mucilaginous quality was off-putting to some, but in Black Southern cooking, okra was gold, a thickener, a vegetable, and a connection to African culinary heritage. Okra was fried until crispy, eliminating the slime and creating addictive, crunchy bites. It was stewed with tomatoes and onions, its natural thickening properties creating hearty dishes that stretched meat. Okra appeared in gumbo, where its presence was essential to authenticity. It was pickled, preserving summer abundance for winter consumption. Okra taught cultural pride in foods that mainstream America dismissed or ridiculed. It taught that ingredients carried history. Okra came to America on slave ships, seeds hidden in the hair of enslaved Africans determined to preserve their food culture. The family eating okra was honoring ancestors, maintaining traditions, and refusing to let others' opinions dictate their cuisine. Those green pods represented resilience, the resilience of a vegetable that survived the Middle Passage, and the resilience of people who ensured their food culture survived too. 16. Saltine crackers. Saltine crackers was the simple sleeve of multi-purpose staple, bread substitute, soup accompaniment, coating for fried foods, and emergency snack. Crackers were cheap, lasted indefinitely, and served functions beyond simple eating. Every pantry had them, and they were never fancy, but they were always useful. Crackers crushed into crumbs became breading for pork chops or fish when breadcrumbs were unavailable. Crackers crumbled into soup added substance and helped stretch a thin meal. Crackers with butter or peanut butter became quick snacks when children were hungry between meals. Crackers dipped in coffee or tea provided a humble treat that cost almost nothing. Saltines taught versatility and resourcefulness. They taught that the simplest items could serve multiple functions if you thought creatively. The family that kept crackers on hand was prepared for various scenarios: unexpected hunger, the need for breading, the desire to stretch soup. That red and white sleeve represented practical thinking and the understanding that sometimes the most basic items were the most valuable because they adapted to whatever need arose. 17. Hot sauce. The bottle of hot sauce, Louisiana style, bright red and vinegar forward, was flavor insurance. When food was repetitive, when meals were bland from stretching,
when the same beans appeared for the third consecutive day, hot sauce transformed everything. It was not just heat, it was excitement, variation, and the ability to personalize any dish. Hot sauce went on eggs, rice, beans, meat, vegetables, and sandwiches. It woke up leftovers, made monotonous meals interesting, and gave everyone control over their flavor experience. Different family members preferred different heat levels, and the hot sauce bottle passed around the table democratically. A few drops changed everything. Hot sauce taught that flavor was democratic. Anyone could improve their meal with a simple shake. It taught that spice was culturally important, connecting African and Caribbean influences to everyday American eating. The family that kept hot sauce on the table understood that eating the same affordable foods repeatedly required strategies to maintain interests. That bottle represented agency, the power to make food your own, to add personality to necessity, to refuse blandness even when resources were limited.
18. Peanut butter. The large jar of peanut butter was protein, fat, and comfort in spreadable form. It filled sandwiches that traveled to school and work, spread on crackers for quick snacks, and occasionally mixed with syrup to create poor man's candy. Peanut butter was reliable nutrition that children actually enjoyed eating. Peanut butter sandwiches were lunch staples, sometimes with jelly when available, often alone when not. Peanut butter on celery provided vegetables with incentive for children. Peanut butter mixed with powdered milk and oats created no-bake cookies when oven desserts were too expensive. The jar never lasted long, and a new one was always purchased because peanut butter was non-negotiable. Peanut butter taught that some foods transcended economic status. Everyone ate it, from the poorest to the wealthiest, making it a rare equalizer. It taught that certain staples earned their place through reliability and appeal. The family that always had peanut butter understood nutritional priorities and child psychology. That jar represented consistency in uncertain times, a promise that some foods would always be available, always be satisfying, always be worth the purchase.
19. Frozen vegetables mixed. When fresh vegetables were expensive or unavailable, the bags of frozen mixed vegetables provided nutrition in convenient form. These bags, usually peas, carrots, green beans, and corn, were affordable, lasted months in the freezer, and required no preparation beyond boiling or steaming. Frozen vegetables appeared as side dishes, mixed into rice for one-pot meals, added to soups for substance, or stirred into casseroles. They provided essential vitamins and minerals when produce was unaffordable, and they eliminated waste. No spoilage, no unusable parts, just reliable vegetables whenever needed. The freezer always held several bags. Frozen vegetables taught practical nutrition management. They taught that perfect was the enemy of good. Frozen vegetables were not farm fresh, but they were vegetables, and that was what mattered. The family serving frozen vegetables was prioritizing health within budget constraints, making intelligent compromises that kept everyone fed and healthy. Those bags represented modern convenience, meeting traditional nutritional wisdom, proving that feeding families well did not require expensive farmers markets or organic labels. It required commitment to providing vegetables in whatever form was accessible. 20. Syrup, cane or corn syrup. The glass bottle of syrup, whether pure cane or corn syrup, was liquid sweetness used far beyond pancakes. Syrup appeared in desserts, glazes, and as a sugar substitute in baking. When candy was unaffordable, syrup mixed with peanut butter created homemade treats. When fruit was unavailable, syrup made plain biscuits feel like dessert. Syrup stretched sweet moments in a life with few indulgences. A little drizzle transformed breakfast into something special. Syrup in tea replaced sugar. Syrup cooked with sweet potatoes created candied sides for holiday meals. It was versatile, affordable, and shelf-stable, everything a staple needed to be. Syrup taught that sweetness was essential to life, not just physically, but emotionally. It taught that creating moments of pleasure, however small, mattered for family morale and mental health. The family that kept syrup on hand understood that poverty did not mean complete deprivation of joy. That bottle represented the commitment to providing small pleasures despite limited resources. Syrup proved that sweetness, literal and metaphorical, could exist even in the tightest times, that families could create happy memories around a table even when money was scarce.
These 20 grocery items tell a story that transcends food. They speak of families who transformed limitation into creativity, who refused to let economic hardship diminish their tables or their dignity. Every bag of beans, every can of mackerel, every bottle of hot sauce represented strategic thinking and cultural pride. These were not foods of deprivation. They were foods of wisdom, ingredients that connected past to present, Africa to America, struggle to survival, and ultimately to triumph. The grocery lists of the 1970s Black families were masterclasses in resourcefulness. They showed that knowing how to cook mattered more than having expensive ingredients, that nutrition could be achieved on minimal budgets, and that meals prepared with love and skill could nourish bodies and souls regardless of cost. These families did not just survive, they created food traditions so powerful that decades later, their children and grandchildren remember these meals with reverence and pride. The lesson remains timeless. Wealth is not measured only in money. True wealth exists in knowledge, in community, in the ability to create abundance from scarcity. Those grocery lists from the 70s were blueprints for resilience, proven that with intelligence, tradition, and determination, families could set tables worthy of respect and fill homes with the aroma of love made edible.